Um, we're live now, hopefully. We're going to give everyone a minute to join on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Okay, we're working on Facebook now, so that's great. So we can go live there. We can go live on Instagram, and we can go live on TikTok. Go live. Cool. Um, okay. Let's go. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Back for another live session on this fine Wednesday afternoon and evening. Got Jade here as always, helping out managing all the questions that everyone has. So she will be Jade. Sorry guys. Who you be on Instagram, Jade?
I will be Josiah
I've gone
Matthew.
blank. Josiah_Matty on Instagram. She would be Magictree Superfoods on TikTok, and she will be monitoring the Facebook and YouTube chats. So we'll try and bring it all into one space. So any questions you guys have, we can share it and make it a more interactive session. It's going to be a good one today. We're going to be discussing the herpes virus. I know we discussed the herpes virus last time. We're going to be discussing specifically HSV1, HSV2 today. We're going to be taking herpes. I'm going to use the terms herpes, HSV1, HSV2 interchangeably when I'm using those terms, unless I'm using another a kind of acronym like EBV, CMV, something like that. Then you can assume I'm talking about HSV1 and 2. So we're going to be taking that out of that taboo. We're going to be understanding what is the virus actually doing. We're going to be talking about how do you catch the virus. We're going to be talking about what can you do to knock down the. We're going to be answering the age-old question, can you get rid of the virus as well, which is what everyone wants to know. Um, what else are we going to be talking about today? A lot of things. We're going to be doing a giveaway today as well. So super exciting session. And before you switch off and think, I ain't got no herpes or herpes doesn't bother me, I can tell you, I think 63% is the latest number of the population have herpes. Now, that is just the number that gets tested that we know of. We also know herpes can live asymptomatically in the body. So a lot of people will have herpes, no symptoms, won't even know it, pass it on to other people. So before you just dismiss this as I ain't got no herpes, you probably want to understand the herpes virus. You probably want to understand how it moves, how it replicates, and what you can do against it. Um, Housekeeping points. Let's start there. So, thank you to everyone who signed up for the autism focus group. I'll be sending an email hopefully later today with the first steps on what you should do in terms of getting up to speed and the starting point for that program. Looks like there's a bit of a connection issue on Instagram, so I'll give it a minute just to see if it reconnects. Let's make sure I'm connected to the right Wi-Fi. Okay, looks like we're back. Honestly, guys, traveling has been fantastic, but oh, Jesus, gone again. Okay, looks like we're back. Guys, if Instagram keeps freezing, it looks like we're fine. I don't know why it's just Instagram because I'm on the same Wi-Fi and all of them. But if it keeps freezing, I would
Maybe you're
say,
right now.
sorry.
You're okay.
Oh, okay. If it keeps freezing, I'd say if you have TikTok, transition to TikTok because we're live on TikTok as well. Or if you have Facebook, you can catch us on Facebook at the same time. And also, if you haven't got any of those, you've got YouTube, so you can catch us there. So you don't need to miss out on the information, even if Instagram is being funny. Actually, it might be because of a VPN. So let me just turn that off.
So usually follow the weekend.
Sometimes, yeah, I've got a VPN connected.
Ah.
All right. Um, Give that a second.
When you zoom into the camera.
Yeah, hopefully that should be sorted out now. Hopefully it was just because I had a VPN connected, but yeah, let's get into it. So, housekeeping points. It's going to be a shorter session today. It's going to be about 50 minutes because I've got another call after. So we're going to try and condense as much in as possible. So that might mean a little less time for unrelated Q&A. I know I still need to. I've got an answer to anything that I need to go back to. But yeah, let's get into it. So housekeeping points. What's been happening? What's exciting updates? So yeah, everyone who signed up for the autism group, please do expect an email either today or tomorrow with what you should do in next steps. If you are interested in joining that group, spaces are limited, but do send an email and we'll see if we can still squeeze you in. In terms of just to recap from Sunday session, we've launched the thyroid healing kit. We've launched a diabetes, a thyroid healing guide that goes alongside the kit. We've launched the diabetes healing guide that goes alongside the kit. And then we've also launched the blood cleansing guide as well. So if you bought those kits before and you haven't got the guide, send us an email. We can send that over to you. We'll also be launching the kidney cleanse kit and hopefully the gut health kit and the brain health kit in the next couple of weeks as well. Focused kits, healing kits as well. Okay, just seeing a point, I mean, it's slightly off topic, but purple, green, autism pack, I brought, she had some runny poos after. That can happen, that can be part of the detox process. If it was directly after the Shilajit, I would say stop using the Shilajit for a week or two, see if it regulates, and then maybe you can resume on a smaller dose. We have also updated guidance on juvenile, I'm not sure what the age is, but we have updated guidance on juvenile autism kit usage. But for more details on that, send us a message on the inbox of the website, and then we can the team can chat to you on kind of direct on how to use it depending on how old your child is, assuming it's for a child. And then final point on housekeeping is some of you might have seen the post that we did yesterday. I will be doing a talk at the Health Hub at the College of Naturopathic Medicine in King's Cross in London.
Can I interrupt there? Because you really built it up over the last slide and you just said it so casually.
Yeah, I know. I'm not good at self promo. So yeah. We'll be at the Health Hub run by Philly J. She's doing some great work in terms of bringing the health space together. Massive community. She brought Barbara O'Neill to the UK last year as well, which was a great event. So we'll be doing a talk there on the 1st of... I'll be doing a talk there. Magic Tree will still be there. The stand will be there. So if you want to meet Jade, she'll be there as well. And that will be on the 1st of March. So if you are want to catch me talking about detoxing do's and don'ts, then you can check out the most recent post on the page, and you can try and get some tickets to go to the event. It's a whole workshop day. There'll be lots of interesting and cool practitioners, other naturopaths, doctors, holistic medicine, traditional medicine. It's a whole community and space of everyone that's just looking to help their body to heal. So a really good community to be a part of. And if you are in the London area, it will be a great day out for you.
Can I add something?
Go for it.
I think there's 20% off tickets at the moment with the special promo code MAGICT20.
Oh, okay. Well, help us out. Yeah, help us out if you want to.
I forgot the story afterwards.
Yeah, use the code. Use our code. It's always going to help if you want to get some tickets.
Just to add, it's a great opportunity. We get lots of questions about do we have a physical store, and we don't. So if you're looking to speak to us further about our supplements, our herbs, a little bit more about us, and want to buy in person, then opportunity is also there as well.
Thank you, Jade. Very well put. So yeah, anyone who is based in London or wants to travel down to London for that, and you want more information, you can send an email or a DM or send some chats in. Jade can respond as well for more information on that. Okay, I think that's everything from a housekeeping update. Yeah, okay, cool. Also, I'll be back in England on the 16th of February. So from then, consultations will be resuming, normal process, normal times as well, like UK friendly times. So if you're interested in a consultation, you can also book that as well. They're all with me directly, one-to-one. We always go over time. But if you've got any persistent issues or issues that you're dealing with that you can't seem to get answers for or going around in circles for, then you can book a consultation as well. DT1 cure, is that, you're talking about diabetes 1, type 1 diabetes? Not familiar with that abbreviation, so let me know. Right. All right, we'll get into that in the Q&A then. So, okay, let's get into today's session. We're talking about herpes, but let's be specific because there are 8 different types. But no, I haven't even told you what's coming up today. So we're going to be explaining what is herpes, what is HSV, how does it operate, how does it move, and then we're going to go into the 3 biggest mistakes when it comes to dealing with herpes. Then we're going to talk about and probably do a giveaway, which should be exciting. So stick around for that. Then we'll go into the things that people kind of challenge me on, and I will invite you. That's an interactive session. If you've heard something about the herpes virus and you're like, oh, this guy's talking a load of rubbish, then that's your invitation to challenge me, and I'll answer those questions. And then we'll talk about the herbs, the foods and the herbs that can help the herpes virus or HSV virus. And we'll rank those out of 10 and explain why they are or aren't effective as well. And then we'll try and leave some time for a little bit of Q&A in the next 40 minutes and do that as well. So yeah, we've got about 40 minutes. It's going to be interactive. It's going to be fast. Get your pens, your papers, your pads, your fountain pens, whatever you use, your phones, because there'll be lots of notes to be taken. And we'll also be posting this live session on the page as well. So on our Instagram page, it's the only place, or Facebook as well gets it. We can't post the full video on TikTok, so YouTube as well, actually. So yeah, you can get it there. Wayne Mills, need your help from Jamaica. Do a lot of work in Jamaica. I'll actually be doing a talk in Jamaica. We need to finalize the date, but at some point in February. Yeah, online obviously. So yeah, we do consultations as well. So depending on what your needs are, you can chat in the Facebook. Jade can point you in the right direction, essentially. Okay. Jade, I'm going to need your help keeping me on track and on time here because it's going to be a short session. So I'll try and keep this to about 10-15 minutes. What is herpes? What is HSV? 2 different things. Well, one and the same thing. Herpes includes 8 different viruses. Herpes includes HSV1, HSV2, which are when we use the term herpes, when people say herpes, that's typically what they're referring to. You know, blisters, genital herpes, oral herpes, that's what they're talking about. That's not the only type of herpes. Chickenpox is herpes. VSV would be the virus that's responsible for chickenpox. Shingles virus is herpes. CMV, cytomegalovirus, is herpes. HHV6 is herpes. That's what causes a lot of kidney disease. PANS, which is very similar to autism in children as well. HHV7 is herpes, very similar to HHV6, a bit like HHV6's clone, kind of follows it around, causing havoc along the system. HHV8 is also herpes. HHV8 is a bit of a baby virus, but still one that we need to keep an eye out on. Then there's HHV9, there's also HHV10, which is largely responsible for sarcomas, so cancers. So, you know, lots of different herpes virus, but in this specific session, we're going to be talking about HSV and HSV2, which conveniently, the things that are effective against those 2 viruses are also effective against HPV, which a lot of people kind of get mixed up with. That's human papilloma virus. And then it's also effective against all the other herpes simplex. So herpes simplex. It's also effective against all the other herpes viruses. So all the other 8 I just mentioned, all the things that we're going to be saying is good against HSV 1 and 2 is also effective against the other ones. We're focusing today's session on HSV 1 and 2 because there's so much misinformation about it. So HSV 1 and HSV 2, there's wrongly so much taboo on them where, you know, if someone says I have the herpes virus, there's this stigma that they must be promiscuous, they must be sleeping around, they must be doing all these things. You judge them as a person. There's all this shame attached. You know, it's unfair. It's not true. Most importantly, it's inaccurate, and it doesn't help anyone heal from the condition. And that's what we're all about doing here. We're all about the healing. So, what is HSV 1 and 2, or how does the virus actually move? So what we need to understand is this virus isn't actually a sexually transmitted disease. It can be transmitted through sex, just like the common cold can be transmitted through sex, just like COVID could be transmitted through sex. But that doesn't make it a sexually transmitted disease. That's not the only way you can catch the virus. You can catch the virus by sharing a wet towel. you can catch the virus by literally touching a surface and then rubbing your eyes. Because what most people don't realize is HSV1 and 2 can survive in moist environments for a few hours. A few hours. You know, if there's a surface that has HSV1 and it's damp and maybe there's a tissue there or something like that, a bit of water on the side, it can survive there for a few hours. So if you go ahead and touch that surface, you pick a fork up, whatever you might do, and then you put that fork in your mouth and you've got a bit of a cut in your mouth, maybe you've got an ulcer or something like that, that herpes virus can then enter through that opening in the mouth and give you herpes. If you share that towel and you shaved maybe that morning, so you've got some micro skin abrasions, but you can't even see, so you wouldn't even say I was cut, then you can get herpes. If you share food with someone, so maybe they have oral herpes, they eat the spoon, maybe they have a cold sore, maybe they have a bit of a cut in their mouth, maybe they bit their tongue, doesn't have to be anything sinister, and then you eat that fork or you take a drink off the same glass, you can catch herpes. So, there's lots of, and unfortunately, catching herpes ends a lot of relationships because they think, well, you must have cheated. The amount of times I speak to people who say, I did not have sex and I caught herpes. Maybe they're all lying to me, or maybe it's true that you can catch herpes without having sex. So, even from that perspective, the amount of relationships that get ended is just sad to see because it doesn't have to happen, and it can change with awareness and understanding of how the virus actually transmits. So let's go into that in a bit more detail. We need to understand a few key terms. There's a thing called an activation site. So an activation site could be anywhere on the body. It could be on the knees, could be on the elbows, could be on the hands, could be on the eyeballs, could be in the mouth, could be in the genitals. Most commonly, it's the genitals and the eyes, but you can Google herpes on the finger. You can Google optical herpes. Your activation site could be anywhere because it depends where the opening is. It's just looking for the openings. And you have a urethral opening, so that makes it obvious for the genitals. We shave the genital area as well, so that makes it an easy opening. And then obviously the mouth with oral sex, that becomes an easier opening, especially where the mouth is cut all the time just from biting, chewing, all these things. So the HSV virus enters through a skin opening, and then it's clever. That's the other point that people miss. The virus is clever. That's why it can evade tests. That's why it can evade antivirals. That's why it can live forever, because it's clever. The first step in beating herpes is understanding and respecting the herpes virus. All of them, not just HSV1 and 2, all of them. And they get more advanced and developed the more they go up the chain. So I would say herpes is more like the spy or the special agent because it goes in and it knows exactly what it's doing. It attacks your epithelial cells, in other words, your skin cells. So it goes to your activation site. For the sake of argument, let's just say I had a cut on my hand, maybe I punched someone in the mouth, they have oral herpes, and then now I've got herpes on my hand. It can happen that way as well. So cool. Herpes virus goes into my hand epithelial cells, and it knows that epithelial cells are not permanent. They replicate very quickly, they die very quickly, and that is super important. That's why it chooses these cells to do its replication process. It shares its DNA with the epithelial cells, and then it spills out, replicates, and creates another one. This process happens very quickly, and it can replicate thousands of itself within one day. Thousands within one day. Now, it does that because when an epithelial cell dies, when a skin cell dies, no one cares. No one cares. It's like, okay, well, that's what they do. They die. Skin cells die. So when the virus is replicating itself within the skin cells all the time, and your immune system's like, oh, it's just another skin cell dying. Yeah, well, it lets it go largely unchecked until it becomes sores, until it becomes blisters, until it becomes something where the immune system says, hang on, this is not normal die off of the skin cells. Then when that process happens, the HSV virus says, oop, immune system's coming, time to get out of here, because that immune system will kill us dead. So let's get out of here. Then the virus is very clever. It moves along the nerves, so it will move along the nerves, and it will basically make a beeline for your either trigeminal nerve ganglia, which is here, or it will make a beeline for your sacral nerve ganglia, which is at the bottom of your back. So it's going to go from the activation site, and that's typically why you get oral or genital herpes, because it wants the quickest escape route. So if it's here, go into the trigeminal nerves is nice and easy. If it's oral herpes, get into the back of the lower back is quite easy. So it will make a beeline for those sacral nerves. So it moves through the nerve ganglia to get through to those collection of nerves. This is where it's clever again, because it knows if I hide in a neuron or a nerve cell, these are permanent cells. These cells don't die. These cells live for decades. So if I can park myself up in a neuron, hey, I'm protected for however long I need. And the immune system can't spot me in a neuron. So I can go undetected. I don't have to do anything. I don't need to cause you a whole lot of symptoms. I don't need to flare up. I've just got me and my numbers. We're here in your neurons. And then basically it's just waiting for the next opportunity where your immune system is distracted to be able to go back to that activation site and replicate again. So that's why it's quite rare to find herpes in the hand, because that would be a really long journey for it to go through without being detected. Because you've basically got, when the reason why you get a positive test is because you get antibodies. So these antibodies are like the herpes police. And basically these antibodies are interferons, and they basically just stand outside of that nerve cell and wait. They're just waiting. So that's why that herpes cell has no desire to move, because it knows that those antibodies are just waiting to go after it. So that's why it's clever again. It will wait for the immune system is distracted. That's why I said it's like a spy. It's like special ops. It's not an idiot. It's not a dumb virus just blundering around the place. It's intelligent. So when the immune system gets distracted, whether that is stress at work, whether that is stress in a relationship, whether that is a flu from something else, whether that is the liver gets busy, maybe it's your period, maybe it's menopause, maybe you're having a surgery, maybe you've broken an ankle, something like that, then the immune system kind of gets distracted, turns its head, and that is the HSV makes a beeline for the activation site. And it will go back to the activation site, typically the same one, which is why your herpes will always kind of come up in the same place. It will replicate again, build its numbers, and then when the immune system's like, hang on, hey, there's something going on back at the activation site. Let's go back and check that out. It's already gone and gone back to the nerve cells where it can't be detected again. Immune system has to lick its wounds and go back to and just patrol. Or in other cases, your herpes will go to the activation site, replicate, immune system reacts quite quickly and kills most of them off. Or you might be on acyclovir or something like that, and that would replicate the same job as your immune system. It's going to kill those it's going to kill those virus cells. And as long as one survives, you still have the virus. So hopefully that lays a bit of a framework as to how the herpes virus moves, why there should be no shame attached to it, and also it will also give a bit of a can we kick Broxy out? And also give a bit of a backlog to how you can. I don't know if I could do it. Broxy's clearly having a bad day today. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. Cool. So yeah, I think I've kept that into 10 minutes actually, so I'm quite impressed with myself. All right, so let's talk about the charger. Let's talk about the and I saw someone ask about cold sores as well. So cold sores are most commonly also caused by HSV1. So if you're getting cold sores, it's HSV1. Again, there's no, and this is where it gets a bit the whole stigma around the virus gets a bit silly, because if someone says I have a cold sore, most people don't say, oh man, you've got herpes. You must be all X, Y, and Z. Someone says I've got a cold sore, you're just like, oh, okay, that sounds a bit painful. But if someone says I've got herpes, you're like, oh my God, what's going on? And this is where it just gets a bit silly, because you know, someone, if you were talking to someone and then they said, I have a cold sore, you wouldn't ghost them. Most people wouldn't ghost them. Most people wouldn't say, oh my God, what does this mean for our children? Oh my God, what does this mean for my safety if I've kissed you before? That's not how that conversation goes. But if someone said I have genital herpes, then unfortunately, how it is in society today, that person, their dating paradigm completely has to change. And it's ridiculous because it's the exact same virus as what a cold sore is, but we just don't understand it in the same way. We've attached all this stigma based off things that aren't true. So if there's one thing you can take from today, let it be that. There's no shame in herpes virus. Most of us have it anyway. And yes, we do not want frequent outbreaks. We do not want blisters. We don't want cold sores because they're painful and uncomfortable. But we don't need to shame people about it. And there are things you can do to knock it down. And it's not even the most dangerous herpes virus. The most dangerous herpes virus is the Epstein-Barr virus. 95% of us have the Epstein-Barr virus, which makes it even more silly to chastise people, which makes it even more silly to chastise people who have other types of herpes. Okay.
Someone's really trying to make it long this afternoon, aren't they?
Yeah, I know. TikTok as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. So, I guess people who are spamming the chat, why? I don't really get it.
I think they have multiple accounts and a lot of time in their hands.
All right. Anyway,
Sorry.
we'll try and keep it on track. All right, let's talk about the three biggest mistakes, because a lot of people are making mistakes when it comes to herpes, and we don't want that. So, three biggest mistakes, I would say, is not monitoring, well, let's start with one, not monitoring what triggers your outbreaks. So not monitoring what is triggering your outbreaks. Outbreaks tend not to be random. They tend not to be come out of nowhere. As I just described, the virus is waiting for an opportunity. So whenever you're getting an outbreak, it's because the virus had an opportunity. It could be a diet that gave it an opportunity. It could be stress. It could be a family situation. It could be a personal situation. I'm not saying all of these situations are avoidable. You know, if you've got a big presentation at work and you feel stressed, I'm not saying don't do the presentation, but it's important to understand what is triggering an outbreak, because that is a key part of reducing the outbreaks. There's no overnight pill that's going to shut your eye. I'll disclaim it now. There's no overnight pill that's going to say never get you an outbreak again. There are services and platforms and people that will say, oh, I can beat the test. I can make you not show up as positive for herpes. And maybe that might save your relationship, fine. So maybe that's some value, but all it does is mean that you ignore the herpes virus. And when you have one herpes virus, there's more risk of contracting other herpes viruses. And other herpes viruses will give you kidney disease. Other herpes viruses will give you fibromyalgia. They'll give you thyroiditis. They'll give you lupus. I think someone said lupus in the chat as well. They'll give you, they can cause liver disease. They'll give you jaundice. All of these different issues. Sorry, Jay, do you mind just plugging in the laptop? I think you're unplugged, yeah. So that is probably mistake number 2, to be honest. People thinking that herpes or HSV is the be all and end all, and if you can beat the test, you've solved your issue. If you can just show up as negative for that one test, you've solved your issue. And unfortunately, that's not true. What you need to be doing is just heeding the warning, understanding your system, your body needs your support right now, and doing everything you can to support your body. Not blaming it, not trying to avoid it, not ignoring it, not burying your head in the sand. All of these things, I get it. So I'm not trying to be unempathetic here. I understand why, especially in certain communities as well, where there is more of a social stigma around it, which means you feel like your ability to have a functional relationship is over. You feel like your ability to have children is over. That doesn't have to be the case. Seen it time and time again, it doesn't have to be the case. So what I'm saying is, when you bury your head in the sand, where you sit in, I can't believe this has happened to me, when you sit in, there's nothing I can do about this, when you're trying to find solutions that are rooted in avoiding reality, all they really do is create an environment where you can actually develop real health issues, real chronic health issues that impact what you can eat, how you can move, how pain in the body. So I don't want you to move to that point. So that's why a bit of tough love. HSV isn't the worst herpes virus. And I say that as someone who, I can't even say I don't have HSV, because even if I get tested for HSV and a negative test does not prove you don't have HSV. So I'm saying it as someone who doesn't have HSV outbreaks. I guess I can say that. Um, so I understand, I don't know what it's like to be in the shoes of someone who gets regular outbreaks, but there are herpes viruses which cause worse symptoms. So it's not, focus on the healing, not on the how bad things are. Okay, and then the third mistake is, I'd probably say, there's lots of mistakes people make, but eating the wrong foods probably, or ignoring the role of diet in helping to reduce the frequency of outbreaks. So it's not to say there's a food that you can eat that's going to kill herpes dead in its track. I mean, that's not true. There are some nutrients that do kill HSV dead in its tracks, but because of its ability to hide, it's very difficult. So yeah, it's not a case of I need to eat the perfect food every day, but there are definitely some foods that will make it worse. So we'll get onto the food rankings in a little bit, but in terms of what are the foods you should definitely be avoiding, pork would be one of them. Soy is another sneaky one. So soybeans, edamame, soy sauce, tofu, all of these things. Um, and then we would have eggs as well. Eggs feed the virus. Eggs, eggs, eggs. Especially those of African descent, those of Caribbean descent. Pretty much every single time I speak to someone from one of those communities, eggs is a staple in the diet every single day. So we need to come off the eggs. Eggs feed HSV viruses. It has an absolute feeding frenzy. All herpes viruses have a feeding frenzy on eggs. People think, oh, you hate eggs, you hate eggs. I'm the reason I don't recommend eggs is because they feed herpes viruses, and herpes viruses cause most people's issues. That's why. So, um, what do we say? Gluten, another one that feeds a virus heavy. So, gluten. And I mean, I'm sure some of you will be thinking, oh, I recognize this list. This is predominantly from medical medium information as well. So, with some added bits as well. But yeah, so gluten would be a big factor for that as well. So the multiple layers. It feeds the virus directly, but it's also highly inflammatory, which creates distractions for the HSV virus to be able to maneuver about. So that's why I don't recommend gluten. I don't recommend really red meat because it's high in fat. I don't recommend pork for sure because it feeds the virus directly. I don't recommend soy. I don't recommend eggs. And dairy. Dairy is the other one. Do not eat dairy if you are getting regular outbreaks. You can do coconut alternatives, you can do almond alternatives, so lots of alternatives. You can still enjoy the same foods, um, but yeah, avoid those foods. So Lilith Morningstar, even for autoimmune. So I saw someone also ask about lupus. I think I might have seen a fibromyalgia question come through as well. And the answer is no. All of those foods would also be a resounding no for all of those issues. Why? Because they are caused by herpetic viruses in most cases. So if you are dealing with fibromyalgia, so yeah, if you're dealing with fibromyalgia, that's a stage 4 Epstein-Barr infection that's feeding on mercury. So if you have a stage 4 Epstein-Barr infection, Epstein-Barr virus feeds on the same things as HSV. So you want to avoid those foods, particularly in your case if it's fibromyalgia, because that gluten, that inflammation from the red meat, inflammation from the dairy has more of an impact on your nerves. Your nerves are on fire, basically. I spoke about how the HSV virus likes to move along the nerves. Well, in fibromyalgia, the Epstein-Barr virus is like HSV plus because it can be in the blood, it can be in the bone marrow, it can replicate nerve cells to make your immune system attack nerve cells. It can also live in nerve cells the same way HSV can. So it's a bit of a super virus, but we can knock it down. So the exact same advice I'm going to give on how to knock down HSV is also effective against EBV. So for anyone in this session who has Even I've seen Rashid, fatty liver or hepatitis, because hepatitis B actually triggers an Epstein-Barr infection as well. So if you're dealing with the fibromyalgias, multiple sclerosis, again, stage 4 Epstein-Barr infection in the brain. I think I made a video about that a couple of days ago, but it's Epstein-Barr in the brain. So multiple sclerosis, thyroid issues, fibromyalgia, hepatitis, all of the advice I'm going to give you today is applicable to you. And you probably want some more heavy metal chelators alongside that as well. Heavy metals play less of a role in HSV, but in your cases, you probably want to add some heavy metal chelators like spirulina, like shilajit. They can be beneficial. Okay, I think we've gotten through the 3 biggest mistakes. I know I kind of went on a little bit of a tangent there with the autoimmune conditions, but I think we got there. I keep detox around. What does that mean, Lilith? Okay, where are we going next? Let's talk about the challenges that I get on HSV. So this is an invitation to you guys. If anyone's heard me say anything and you're like, what, where is? I haven't heard that, or that's different to what I've heard, Epstein-Barr, or anything like that, here's your opportunity to challenge me for the next 5 minutes or so. Yeah, we'll be doing a giveaway after this section as well, so stick around. But yeah, if anyone wants to challenge anything I'm saying, I've got a few that people have DM'd. So thank you, Becky. Good to hear that you're finding it informative. Thank you, Amin Laken. I've said that right. Great. This is what we're here for. So one of the challenges is, well, I guess I'll discuss this as part of the challenge. It's less of a challenge, but it's a question we get all the time. Sorry, just before I get into it, Lilith, you probably don't have parasites. You don't need to do a parasite detox every year. If you are experiencing benefits from the parasite detox, it's because you're probably doing an antiviral detox as part of your parasite detox. So yeah, what I would say, Lilith, send us a message on the the website, and then we can work through that step by step. And if you want to book a consultation, you can, but we can help you a bit more rather than going back and forth on the live.
Well, put your email in and I can send you an
Yeah.
email.
So Jade had a good idea, and we're going to do a giveaway today, but we're going to mix it up a little bit today. So I think I was reading it as it came across, so correct me if I'm wrong, Jade. But what we're going to do is in this challenge section, so over the next 5 minutes, whoever of the people who send us a challenge, challenge the information I'm saying today, we'll be choosing a winner from that for the giveaway. Is that correct? Cool. So yeah, all platforms. So whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, please do send me, ask me a question or a challenge, both one and the same thing. And I'm not saying the best challenge will win. I'm sure maybe it will. But yeah, so what kind of a challenge? So something like but what about parasites cause herpes, don't they? Or something like that. Or what role do heavy metals play in herpes? Or but I heard eggs are good for herpes, something like that. Doesn't necessarily have to be going against me. A good question would also qualify as an entry as well. So yeah, we're doing it off the cuff here, so we'll see. Yeah, so I'll talk about the testing. I will talk about, yeah, Becky, you can ask questions. Yeah, ask questions. That's how you can win a giveaway. So, and then we'll could be running short on time a little bit, and then we'll probably try and get onto the rankings. So, yeah, maybe 5 minutes. So I'll open it up for 5 minutes to ask questions and challenges. All right, cool. So, testing. I've kind of touched on it before. The reason why HSV testing is so unreliable is because if there is one HSV virus in the system, then it can create 10,000 more in one day, and then you have herpes again. So there's no way to test every single cell in your body at the same time to prove there is not one single herpes virus DNA in your system. That's why it's not possible to prove. So I guess the challenge in that context would be, but someone told me they could get rid of my herpes within 3 months. What they might be able to do is get rid of What they might be able to do, thank you, Alberto. What they might be able to do is get rid of a negative test because they might be able to wipe out your antibodies, so therefore you don't show positive on an antibody test. And if you don't have an outbreak at the time, a swab test won't show as positive. So in that sense, yes, you will have a negative test, and that might save your relationship, but it doesn't get rid of the herpes virus. In fact, it actually makes your situation worse because you will have less defense against the herpes virus. Your antibodies are there to stop outbreaks at the source. So if you get rid of your antibodies, that's not an improvement, that's a worsening. And then the other thing, a lot of people say, but herpes is a parasite. The Phaseolopsis buski worm is responsible for herpes. Now, the Phaseolopsis buski worm can carry herpes, but it's not the sole source of herpes. It does not require a parasite transmission for you to catch the virus. So to reduce it to what it has to be the case would be inaccurate. All right. Quite a few challenges coming in. All right, I'll start with Alberto, then Jade, you can filter them through. So, Alberto, and apologies, I know I'm speaking a little bit quick. It's because I need to jump off in about 12 minutes, and I know we haven't ranked the foods yet. So, I want to try and do that after the next 5 minutes. So, yeah. Alberto, I got a good one that you won't like because it comes from me since I raised the thought. Okay. What role does autophagy play in herpes? So, the role of autophagy in herpes, I'm not an autophagy. Okay, so I'm not an autophagy expert, so I'm not claiming to know the be all and end all of autophagy. But what I can say is herpes isn't a system-wide issue. It's not a issue that stem cells resolve. It's not an issue that the problem is autophagy is an immune system process. So your body says we need to press the master reset button. It makes new stem cells. It cleanses out all the rubbish, and that's what happens in autophagy. In herpes, that's not the problem, because even if your immune system does a master flush, even if your lymphatic system does a master flush, even if you get a whole new gut microbiome because you got all the stem cells in the world, even if you do a blood transfusion, whatever the thing might be, the herpes virus is still in the nerves. It doesn't replace cerebral spinal fluid nerves. It doesn't replace neurons because they're permanent cells. The body's not designed to replace neurons quickly. So that's the same reason why herpes doesn't kill neurons, because if it did, it would send the immune system into high alert. So it's not the same kind of systems. I understand the thinking, but it's not the same systems. But it's still a good question. Yep, go for it.
Can you eat fish?
Yes, fish is fine. Simple one.
Do heavy metals play a role in psoriasis?
Yes, they do. They feed the herpes virus, and that's when your liver is overburdened, it sends the herpes virus out to the lymphatic system, feeds on heavy metals into the lymphatic system, goes down the nerve endings and causes the scarring and itching on the skin. So you do want to be detoxing heavy metals when you're dealing with psoriasis or eczema. Did you see the question from Amun Lakan, Jade? Amun Lakan.
Yeah, I'm just going through this properly about it.
Oh, okay.
Why is high fat a problem with herpes and that you don't recommend it?
Good question. High fat is a problem with herpes because essentially what's the easiest way to explain this? High fat burdens your immunological response. So the same way fat slows everything down, it also slows down your immune response. So it's not as direct as some of the other things, which is why I wouldn't say red meat is as bad as, say, pork, because pork has the direct carcinogens that burden your immune system. But red meat is high in fat, eggs are high in fat, and what they do is they slow down the immune response. It makes it sluggish, and as I said, all the HSV virus is looking for is a yard, 1 inch, just to make it burst out. So that's why I don't recommend it. It also has a secondary effect on cortisol, so it can spike cortisol. It can also make insulin higher as well, or insulin more resistant, which can burden the immune system further. So there's quite a few secondary effects where I'm talking about bad fat here. I'm not talking about the types of fat from, extra virgin olive oil or avocado. But if you're just talking about fat from a burger or just saturated fats, then yeah.
Okay, thank you. I can only get rid of herpes by not eating for 90 days.
Is that question? Sorry.
That's the question for the challenge.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Um,
right. Okay, got it. So, in that sense, I would say it's the same as the autophagy response. Not eating for 90 days stimulates autophagy. So, the thing is, HSV virus cells don't really, they don't come out of the neurons to feed. So, you're not killing off all the herpes cells, at least as far as I'm aware. You're not killing off all the herpes cells by not killing off. I mean, the same way your healthy cells can survive for 90 days without food in that scenario, so would the HSV cells. So it's not like you'd be discriminately going after the HSV cells by starving yourself because your immune system doesn't know it's there. So it can't target something it doesn't know it's there. It's the same reason there's no inflammation response, there's no elevated IG, well, you will have the antibodies, but there's no elevated inflammatory response, there's no rash, there's no evidence of the virus when you don't have an active outbreak because for all intents and purposes, the immune system doesn't know it's there. So that's the problem when you do a fasting approach to HSV.
Thank you. I'm not sure. ASV1 or does it mean HSV1 and early release immature bone marrow cells. Is there a link?
Yes, probably not with HSV to be honest. It's probably one of the other herpetic viruses. It's probably EBV or HHV6 because they live in the bone marrow. So when you have one herpetic virus, they are more susceptible to catch another herpes virus. So that's why they're related. So obviously we don't know for sure. And again, even if you do a blood test, it won't guarantee. But that's the most likely explanation because HSV doesn't live in the blood. HSV doesn't live in the bone marrow. So that's why it's most likely something else causing that issue.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I've been told I need to speak louder or you need to.
Oh, okay.
Herbs don't kill bad gut bacteria, only suppress them. How do you get rid of H. pylori? Only synthetic drugs?
We'll save that for the Q&A. That's not about herpes, but yeah. H. pylori. Just because Becky's new here, so I'll just answer that one. I have something wrong with my white blood cells.
Send an email.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I would have said. Could be a million and one things, Becky, why your white blood cells are elevated. So, yeah, if you say everything that's wrong in an email, we can give a more specific explanation, or you can book a consultation. We can go through that way as well.
Some new people have joined, but someone said, is there a cure? Do you have it and have you cured yourself?
All right, so let's go to the herbs that can help. So in terms of picking a winner from the challenges,
You said a good question to the one about high fat, didn't you? So we'll do that one.
Okay, yeah, I like the fat one. So we'll pick who asked the question about the fat.
I don't know if it's shied or shy dined, D-Y-N-D.
Spell it and I'll.
S-H-A-I-D-Y-N-D.
S-H-A-I,
like Shea Gilgis.
oh, right.
D-Y-N-D.
Okay.
Shy dined?
S-H-A-I-D-Y-N-D.
I'm just going to respond to them and say
You won the giveaway. So let us know. I don't know if you are dealing with herpes, otherwise we can get the herpes kit sent out to you. But yes, let us know if you're still around. Send a message in. Which chat was that on?
Yeah, she's there. So, yeah, me,
Oh,
that's
cool.
me. Yeah, hi, congratulations.
Great.
I'll say send us
Yeah, Jade will sort that out. Truth hurts. No, I didn't have HSV myself that I'm aware of, so I haven't healed myself from HSV to answer your question. Becky, is there a connection between the elevated white blood cells and HSV? Yes, there can be. If you're actively fighting outbreak, then your immune response will be heightened. So yeah. All right, let's talk about herbs to knock it down. Truth hurts. We've already discussed kind of is there a cure for it, and the.
Sorry to cut you. You said foods. Some people have sent foods.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get into it. We've only got 5 minutes. So there's not a cure because you can't prove it's been cured. There are things you can do to reduce the frequency of outbreaks, which is what we'll be getting into now. So I'll just start off this section and say we do have a anti-herpes kit. The herbs are strategically put together to help knock down the HSV virus and all herpes viruses by looking at their pathways, stopping them from replicating, stopping their mucous membranes from being able to attach to other cells. It can also target it in its latent areas with the oil of oregano. So that is the black seed oil, the oil of oregano, the sea moss, and the licorice root. The sea moss contains zinc and iodine, which is super important for knocking down the virus as well. As soon as it comes into contact with zinc, it kills it. As soon as it comes into contact with lysine, it kills it. So when we're judging the foods, you'll see if a food is high in zinc, if a food is high in lysine, if a food is high in, well, mainly those two, it will probably score quite high. Now, I suppose, caveat to that is pork, I believe, is high in lysine. Dairy is high in lysine. So it's not just because something is high in lysine does it become a really good herpes cure, so to speak. But when you look at it in the context of the arginine as well, then that adds some context. Just seeing some messages on TikTok. Okay, so let's talk about some foods, and then maybe we'll do a part 2 on this because we have to jump off in 5 minutes. But there's a load of questions I've seen coming in, so I'm not sure we've fully addressed this one.
So someone said, how can you speak on something you've never had or never cured? I guess doctors have never had something.
Yeah. Okay. We've only got 5 minutes, so okay. Let's talk about the foods. So yeah, what would I rank highly? Broccoli sprouts would rank very highly. So essentially, you're looking at foods which are heightening the immune response. So the best way to heighten your protection against HSV is to heighten your soldiers, basically heighten your immune response. And so black broccoli sprouts are one of the best ways to do that. If you are from a fruits perspective, mango is great. Blueberries are great. Dried figs are really good because they're high in lysine. Pumpkin seeds are really good because they're high in zinc. Sunflower seeds would be very good. So they would also score probably an 8 out of 10 because they're really high in zinc. When we're talking, sweet potatoes would also be really good because they gently support the immune system. So it's not just about adding in the superfoods, but it's more about how can we build a diet, a complete comprehensive diet that is anti-herpes. So it's not to say sweet potato is the best possible thing you can eat to knock down the herpes virus, but it is to say if you are looking at a carbohydrate to put on your plate, sweet potato is a lot better than rice because rice breaks down into glucose, it breaks down into toxic byproducts, it breaks down into acidity, all factors which feed the virus. So,
Can I give you some foods that some people have asked?
sure.
Turmeric?
Turmeric would score an, I'd say a 7.5 out of 10. Good, supportive. It's not directly anti-herpes. Well, I say that it is, but less so anti-herpes hiding in the nerves. So if you were to take herpes during an outbreak, great, but in terms of dormant herpes, less so.
Peanuts?
5, not moving the needle either way.
Red meat?
Red meat would be a 3. High in fat, slows down the immune response.
Eggs?
Eggs would be a 3 for the same reason.
So someone asked about oregano oil, but you said
Oregano oil would be a 9. Great because you can use it topically, which means you can target HSV in its latent areas. So you can rub it along the spine, you can rub it along the jaw, and that's going to be attacking the virus where it likes to hide.
So whole foods?
Depends what you mean by whole foods. It's quite an umbrella term. So if there's whole grains, maybe that's a little bit different. But yeah, difficult one to answer that one.
Yeah, someone said they've grown their own broccoli sprouts, so good to hear.
Yeah, broccoli sprouts are amazing. Super high in sulforaphane. Just, yeah, if I could eat them every day, I will. That's one thing I'm planning to do when I get back to England.
Yeah, that's it for now.
Corn, that's a really good one. I misread it, but it actually reminds me. Someone said, can a baby contract or born with herpes? And I read born as corn. Corn is another thing to avoid. Corn would score a 2. It feeds the herpes virus. It's inflammatory. It doesn't digest very well. If you notice, whenever you eat corn, it actually comes out undigested in your stool as well. So to answer your question, Sandy, can a baby contract or be born with herpes? Yes, they can. That's the main concern. Well, I say main. That's one of the concerns women with vaginal herpes will have. They say, well, if I have an active outbreak during labor, then the baby can contract herpes when born. That is possible. In terms of avoiding that, women will take acyclovir before going into labor, which will reduce the risk of an outbreak so that they can have a vaginal birth. Or if you're concerned about that risk, then a C-section is a safer way to do it as well. But it is definitely possible for a baby to be born with herpes. Generally, it's because the mother will also have herpes. Okay, guys, I need to run because I've got another call now. I know we've cut this one a little bit short. We've kind of got through the body of it. Maybe we'll do a part 2 just to fully go through all of the herbs that we can use, just to fully explain how the kit works, just to fully explain, go into more detail on the diet side of things as well. And we also didn't really touch on holistic practices we can do to knock down the virus as well, because that is, I think, in herpes equally as important because stress plays such a big factor. So we'll do a part 2 on this one, maybe on Wednesday today. We won't have a live session on Sunday. That's important because we're traveling. So it'll probably be next Wednesday will be the next session. So we'll probably do a part 2 next Wednesday. Yeah, we'll go from there. So apologies for the harsh cut off and the short end. Stick around for part 2 on Wednesday. And we'll speak then.
We didn't say in housekeeping, but it's 20% off site.
Yeah.
Code off
20% off until Valentine's Day. So you can use that. If you want to get the herpes kit on the website, it's called the anti-herpes kit. If you want to get it on TikTok, it's called the antiviral kit. We can do discreet packaging as well. So even though I don't like it because we shouldn't be putting herpes into the taboo, but I get it. So yeah, you can use 20% off. It's Love20 on the website until Valentine's Day. We also have a limited edition Valentine's Libido kit as well, which is launched. So yeah, Christina will be doing that on Wednesday, similar time. So jump on for part 2. All right, guys, appreciate you.
Your eyes are beautiful, someone said.
That's very nice of you. Thank you. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.